Hey there. Oh, it's 1:11. I'm coming on a little bit late, but what a beautiful time to begin episode 20 of Multifaceted. My apologies for being a little bit late this week. I was just wrapping up a session with a client, and I am very excited to share on today's topic. It was actually really just inspired over the last couple of days. As you may know, with Multifaceted, I have been sharing over the month of October all about sensuality. And today's topic is all about sacredly solo sensuality. And part of why this was inspired was from a conversation that I was having within a Facebook group that I am part of. And there was a question that was asked within the group. And it was really all about, where does that spark of chemistry come from? Does it come from within, or does it come from our experience of another person? And my answer to the question, and this is something that we ended up having a really beautiful conversation about for those of us that were commenting on the thread and just kind of exploring our opinion about this. My answer to this is it's something that is really important that we have the ability to cultivate within ourselves, and then it's amplified by another. It's amplified by polarity between ourselves and another person. So this is something that I wanted to talk about specifically, is just this solo journey, this experience of ourselves, and this experience of really doing a lot of the healing work that it takes to get to this place. There's so much self-care and really self-compassion and love that's involved in this process. And it's also something that I have, been really interested in over the last couple of years. There's an Eastern tradition, it's a yogic tradition called tantric celibacy, and this is where it's something that's not as common, it's not spoken of so much in Western culture, but it's when we actually deliberately take time away from dating. If we're single and we've been dating for years and years, that we actually deliberately take time to cultivate our own sense of sensuality within ourselves, our own healed state within ourselves, that we're actually deliberately taking this time away from dating. Because many of us have had that experience. I mean, I know lots of us have been in relationship and marriages for quite some time, but if you are in the dating world and you happen to have a common experience of this, where it's, this experience of dating, you get out of one relationship and you're immediately in another. Or, and this was my experience after my separation about 10 years ago, was to just really dive into a new relationship. We can often be afraid of being alone. And so we don't cultivate that time where we really start to get connected to who we really are after this experience of potentially being in a long-term relationship that wasn't healthy for us. So that's one thing that I wish I had known back then, rather than just diving right into another relationship immediately, to actually consciously take that time to really explore this sacredly solo sensuality that we all really deserve to be able to explore within ourselves. And there's really a beautiful path that we can explore by being deliberately on our own for a period of time, so that we can reconnect to who we are after what we've been through, so we can learn to be comfortable being on our own, comfortable in our own skin, not needing that amplification from the other person, really starting to build it within ourselves, doing the healing work. And so often that really just comes from taking some time to ourselves, taking time to really reconnect with what's important to us, and doing whatever it really feels like is called for at the time. I mean, sometimes when we're in relationships and we're giving so much of ourselves, we're, potentially not allowing ourselves the time to just even be on our own schedule, right? Like often what I've done, and this is something that I explored last summer as well for myself, is to really get into this very grounded and beautiful routine for myself. And at the same time, I was doing a lot of really incredible self-study courses and healing programs. One big one that I took last year that was so powerful and that so many of us really need to explore within ourselves was exploring codependency. Because this can often be something that if we have trouble being alone, if we're always really needing to be in relationship, that we might need to explore within us, is to really start to reconnect to and heal that aspect of ourselves that has trouble just being on our own, for whether it's, a couple of hours a day or whether it's for a stretch of time, a couple of months. So again, this isn't something that is as common in Western culture, for us to really deliberately take time for ourselves, where we decide that we're not going to be in relationship for a period of time, where we're actually consciously choosing ourselves first. And how often do we really allow that for ourselves, to really consciously choose me, and to take that time to, date ourselves, be loving towards ourselves, gift ourselves with time spent doing what it is that we desire, potentially doing a lot of processing and journaling and healing work, whatever that looks like for us, and just having it be a really beautiful and sacred time where we are consciously and deliberately giving ourselves the space to heal, to work on our energetics, to work on ourselves, even just physically, right? Whether that means, potentially we haven't been looking after ourselves as well with our sleep, with our nutrition, with our fitness, but really giving ourselves that time to have that inward focus. So again, this is just another aspect of this whole conversation that we've had throughout this month of October on the sensual side. This is something that I feel like would be really beautiful for us to discuss and explore more in our Western culture. I've mentioned before my own personal story of just rushing right into another relationship after a separation. And often the advice that I give when I speak to people who are newly separated is to take that time for yourself. And it might be hard. It might be really difficult to choose that, because there is a lot of loneliness that comes from suddenly being single. It can be, a bit of a challenging experience, but so much of what can be gained from this time is to really, again, meet yourself where you are now. Do the processing, do the healing. Take a look at the patterns that came up within your previous experience, what went wrong. And there's another perspective to this. And I think because of this, it's really beautiful to know that there's no right or wrong way to do this, because the work that I do with my incredible colleague and hypnotherapist, Saman Nasir, when I refer my clients to her, she's really incredible at helping to support individuals that are going through relationship struggles. So, if you happen to be in relationship and you're needing some support, then there is always that as well. And often one of the perspectives that Saman recommends is that when we are in relationship, the triggers needed for our healing are coming up. And often when we're just on our own, we're not experiencing the triggers. So there's benefits to both sides of this. So just know that wherever you're at, no matter what's going on, wherever you're at, it's all perfect. But to just really take a look at this as an opportunity. If you find yourself, just in a relationship that could potentially be ending, or if you find yourself really struggling with dating, like it's just not going well, you're potentially repeating patterns over and over again, sometimes it's really beneficial to just take that time for yourself and to regroup and to just be really conscious about where you're at right now and what it is that you desire. There's so much clarity to be had from what we've been through that didn't work. All of the potential pain and heartache and challenges and the mirroring that comes from these difficult relationships that we may have experienced in our past. That can really help us to get clear on what it is that we desire going forward. But we can also really connect to this through being deliberately and consciously solo for a period of time. So again, there's no right or wrong way to do this, but the deeper kind of purpose of this conversation is to just really remind you that you have everything within you, and that your interaction in relationship with others is just merely an amplification of that. So to really be able to take that time for yourself, to go inward, and to, again, there's so many beautiful healing processes that you can do. Again, if you have any specific questions about what that would look like, you can definitely reach out to me. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but whether it's through meditation, whether it's through breath work, whether it's through journaling, whether it's through specific healing processes that help to release trauma, like EFT or hypnotherapy, there's so much available to allow you to release the past and to move forward and to open up to a whole new possibility for your future. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about this, is the opening that it can create, the up-leveling that it can create for you in terms of who you are calling in to your life for your future experience. But to deliberately take this time for yourself to actually choose you for a period of time, whether it's just a month, 3 months, maybe 6 months, whatever feels right to you. It's something that I think is important to explore as an option. And again, we don't talk about this so much here. It's almost more common for us to see that, we're just getting out of one relationship and immediately going into another, and to just really honor and celebrate the importance of doing this healing work, of getting right with yourself, of identifying the patterns, of releasing what no longer serves, of healing from the past, of healing from traumatic experiences, of also owning our role in these things. What did we accept and tolerate in previous relationships that we are now choosing to no longer accept and tolerate? So again, there's a beautiful opportunity for an up-leveling there, and to get so clear on what you desire for yourself in a partner, in a relationship, in your own experience of your life, knowing just how powerful you are and your ability to cultivate that. But it can absolutely be beneficial to take that time for yourself and choose yourself and gift yourself with time to actually walk that path, even though the thought of being on your own can sometimes be terrifying. It's a really beautiful thing to be able to work towards and heal through so that you can do that for yourself. And I shared this, we talked about relationships a couple of months ago. I shared that in one of our episodes of Multifaceted, that the most important relationship that you'll ever have is with yourself. So this is just another reminder of that. Just how sacred that relationship is. And how within this relationship with yourself, you can still be in tune with your own sensuality, and how powerful that is to cultivate and enhance just completely with yourself. Not needing it to always necessarily be amplified by another. This is an incredibly empowering experience to go through. So, if this is something that you're potentially at a stage at within yourself, relationship might be ending, or if you're getting frustrated with the dating experience, you're not experiencing what you desire to, this is something that might be potentially on your path as well. So if you do have any questions or desire any support in this, this can also be part of your comeback. And of course, that's what my support and my teachings are really all about, is this act of doing the healing work, of potentially reinventing yourself if what's been going on so far hasn't been working, of really connecting to the truth of who you are, the beauty, the wisdom of who you are, of releasing aspects, beliefs, old, outdated thoughts of who you are that have potentially kept you in pain, that have actually potentially perpetuated these patterns that we're talking about here. If you are looking for support in this, there's a few ways to receive it. You can absolutely reach out to me. You can comment below and ask for support. The Comeback Queen is my Facebook group for anyone who identifies as queen, who is looking for support in their own comeback and them reinventing themselves. And we do talk about relationships a lot. And this whole conversation about really taking the sacred time for yourself is an important part of this as well, and absolutely something that I do discuss with my clients if they're at that stage, because it can often be a stage that's missed. As I mentioned, I missed it. So that is pretty much everything that I wanted to share today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Very grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for your support, your questions, anything that you want to discuss along this topic. As the month of October is about to end, we're starting with a new topic next month for November. I will be sharing in the next couple of days what that new topic will be, so watch out for that. As always, I will be back for next week's Multifaceted, episode 21. At 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time here on my Facebook page. So much love to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.